Hey, I'm Matt Hudgens and he's Dave Mulvaney, and this is Profitability MD. Dave, how you doing today, buddy?
Matt, I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. Life is good. Episode 146, Growth Through Client Experience. Growth through client experience. You and I talk about all the time about, way to grow your company is some of the fundamentals, right? We talk about our 5 ways to grow the business, but when we come back to these core fundamentals of, who's your target market, and what's your $1 million message, kind of your unique, how are you unique? And then what's your irresistible offer to those same target market? We're going to take a spin on that talks about how to grow through a great client experience. And it's kind of along the lines, not exactly, but if you build it, they will come, right? If you have a tremendous client experience, that in and of itself could be your $1 million message, could be your differentiator, could be how you are unique, and which could help you grow your business.
So, and it just, one of the things that just came to mind, I don't know why this just came to mind, but you're in Georgia. From what I understand, the Savannah has a minor league baseball team,
right?
That has the most unbelievable minor league baseball experience of any, like, in the country. And they're well known for, I think they're called the Savannah Bananas or something.
That's exactly right. One of my friend's son is working there this summer in marketing.
So let's just look at that to start this off, because, okay, first of all, like, minor league baseball is kind of boring because it's in between high school and, it's in this kind of quandary of, it's not that much, they don't have this big audience. And so they created this client experience that they pack out their seats. And so this is a perfect example of, it can become your $1 million message, your client experience. So
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And it's interesting, you think about that. Actually, I'm looking at their website right now. We make baseball fun. Fans first, entertain always, all inclusive. So there's kind of their $1 million message. We make baseball fun. So you just talked about that. That's their uniqueness. We make baseball fun. They're supposed to have fun little events between innings. Funny little, how they have music that they, as you step up to the plate and that type of stuff. That's kind of, funny, goofy stuff. They had one, I remember the son was telling me, but one of the things was like, something about like they were pretending like they were a golf caddy. So the caddy came out to the batter's box with him and, had a bunch of bats in his golf bag, and the batter got to choose one of the bats as his golf club.
But what's so important about this is, okay, who are they making baseball fun for? That you're not supposed to use "for" at the end of a sentence, but who are they making it? They're making it great for the audience. The players got to play. It's their season, but they're making it fun for the audience, so they have attendance, so that they can pay their players. It's a phenomenal. Again, there's lots and lots of minor league baseball teams, but there's one that is known for their client experience.
Yeah, we make baseball fun. I mean, how great is that? That's, again, their $1 million message right there, right? Their irresistible offer. We make baseball fun, all inclusive, right? Bring your kids, bring the family. That's a great example. I was going to use the example. So when I moved into this house 2 years ago, we painted it. We painted the outside and the inside, a bunch of the rooms inside and the outside. And they had a painter liaison. Somebody came by the house every single day to talk to me or my wife. How's it going? Any problems? Any questions? To enhance my experience, instead of me getting, it looks like they missed a spot over here, or it looks like this is that, and you'd have to track down, how do I get to the manager and I don't know who to talk to on the staff. The guy came by every single day, and he called himself the liaison between the owner and the painting company. And not just complaints, but just, anytime you had an issue, you had a liaison. So it was a perfect painting experience. How often you get frustrated? I can't find the contractor. I don't know who to talk to. This subcontractor doesn't know what's going on. He didn't know where XYZ is. So to provide that little enhancement, think if you're a builder, we talk about builders all the time. What if you had a builder liaison, right? So instead of your client getting all frustrated and mad that they don't know what's going on or where something is, there's a middleman that kind of talks to and say, hey, yeah, we noticed there was a spot, or hey, I thought the refrigerator was supposed to be here this week. Can you find out about that? Anyway,
and I'll bet you that painter liaison, for instance,
yeah.
I'll bet you that 30% of the time, the husband or wife says, I hate this color. So they end up paying them to repaint.
Upgrades.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Repaint, upgrades. They were trying to get me to do the back porch. Oh, we also do the back porch, right? And like you said, oh, we weren't going to paint this room, but since we're already here, we can just add that on. I've already got the paint for you. You're exactly right. Easy to upgrade.
And that's where, like you mentioned it with builders. So the builder has somebody that goes between the builder and the subs, which is usually somebody called an expediter, but yet they don't typically have somebody who goes between the builder and the homeowner or the future homeowner. And the point is, are you focused on, so one focuses on your completion of the job. The other focuses on this experience for the customer. Both are important. But the customer experience is how you're going to grow. We're talking about growth through a client experience. You grow because you're really focused on this experience of your customer.
No, it's perfect. And so we would call that a relationship manager, right? Somebody to manage the relationship. And I was just came to mind as you were mentioning it. So both, I go to Georgia football games and I go to the Braves games, right? And at club level where we got the corporates and all that stuff. So we get a corporate tenant. They have liaisons, show you to your room, show you to your seat, show you where the food is, show you where the dessert is, tell you when, some Braves players coming up, so you can take a photo with them, right? They actually have, that's what they're called, liaisons or ushers, or I guess they call them ushers, but they're different. They're liaisons that kind of guide you through the experience of going to the Braves game in these corporate boxes, right? Because these people paid a lot of money for these tickets.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I get, a lot of people are like, well, we don't have that kind of money that we get a liaison when we go to a Braves game. But
right.
But hey, if you do your client experience right, you will have the kind of money because you won't have to worry about fighting the price game. I mean, that's where this really all boils down to. Now, probably the number one company known for their client experience is Disney, of course.
Great example.
Okay, so Disney, a lot of people don't know there's something called Disney Underground. And so many people don't even know this exists. Now, it's in Orlando, okay? Florida is just a few feet above sea level. Well, Disney Underground is where all the employees, unless they're in a costume, they don't walk through the park. They walk underground because the entire thing is based around customer experience. We don't want to see employees. We want to see the park. And so they created this whole experience before they built the park. It was all based around the customer experience, pumping, like when you go through certain parts of the park, they actually pump smells into the park. And those smells, of course, create emotion and other things. Like when you go in they have the chocolate and all these different smells. And especially when you're getting around, lunchtime and dinner time, it's a cool experience, and it's all about selling. So if I break up, Matt, you just keep talking, and I'll come back. I saw my internet was unstable there for a second, but
no, that's all right. Well, I was going to say, so building on that was, how do you think Uber got built? Uber was the experience, the ease of use. Instead of having to call a taxi and wait for the taxi to come, now we can pull it up on an app. Amazon, ease of use. Instead of having to go to Target or to Walmart, you can just order it online and it'll be here tomorrow or the next day, right? That's ease of use. Matter of fact, one of the speakers, I was at this conference this past week, and I don't know, whatever. Amazon, remember how they're working on healthcare and how to refine and expedite healthcare. One of the things they're working on is prescription drugs. Now, mail order drugs have been around for a long time. You can go to your doctor and get a prescription, and then you go and you get mail order drugs, and it comes to you every month. What they're trying to do is tie it together where you go to the doctor and there's an app that goes like Amazon, medical, and they would pull it up, and he's going to order the drugs for you, and your healthcare is going to approve it, and they're going to deliver it to your house, right? And so talk about ease of use. Instead of you getting the prescription, or they have to call it in to CVS or Walgreens, and then I got to go pick it up later on tomorrow or whatever. This is like all in one compassing that they're ordering the drugs and getting healthcare approval and delivering it to your house. You know, some of these places, depending on what city, same day delivery, right?
When I was on, when I had COVID, that's exactly what I did. I logged onto an app that already connected with a group of doctors. They got me the prescription, all in a matter of, hours. I already had prescriptions and all prescriptions called into the drugstore and everything, my drugstore, and it was all done through an app, and interview process through the app. And that's the point. They're focused on the client experience, because what's the worst thing? You go to the doctor and you sit in the lobby and they're telling you, oh, we're 45 minutes behind. But if you show up 45 minutes late, they won't even give you service. It's
right.
They forget, like most of the medical field has forgotten about the client experience. But yet they could learn a lot from the children's hospitals, because children's hospitals focus on the client experience. Unfortunately, children's hospitals, it's an awful thing because they're dealing with sick kids. But at the same time, they're trying to make their client experience as good as possible. Yet adult hospitals are like, we don't care about you. You're an adult. And it's really a bad way to think about business, because you should really be focused on how can I deliver? Like, how can I be so different from my competitors? I don't care if you sell crackers. I mean, if you can, I'll use an example. There's these pretzels made by this lady. It's called Dots, and they're becoming really popular pretzels, and they're growing like crazy. It's a little place I think they're out of North or South Dakota, but there's this whole story behind it. So when I say sometimes the client experience is based in story, to make people want to be a part of something. Sometimes like Apple is a perfect example. The client experience is almost cultish. I'm an Apple person, but I mean, everything I got is Apple. I'm on an app, but that's the client experience is the cult, I guess you'd say it. But they also make computers that are made really well. Some would argue not any better than anyone else's, but their client experience is different from the packaging. I mean, it is so different. And so recognizing some of those things, for instance, Amazon, you brought up Amazon before. Amazon, I just saw an ad for Amazon online that said you can get like a $4 discount to pick it up at one of their hubs. I'm like, screw that. The whole idea behind your whole company was that it was supposed to be delivered to my front door. So are they moving from their client experience for profit? You see what I'm saying? The big companies often forget their customers. And when I read that, I'm like, what are you talking about, Amazon? I thought the whole idea, that's your whole concept behind your company. So these are things, no matter how big you get, never forget your client experience.
And that's kind of the point of this is how can you enhance your client experience and use that as a strategy, right? So what are the hot buttons for your I've seen this commercial and I've read some articles. I don't know the name brand, but it's like life insurance online or auto insurance online, whatever it is. It's supposed to be super easy, super convenient, yada, yada, file a claim online, take a picture of your dented car and all that kind of stuff. So thinking about how you can enhance your experience of whatever you do, like we talked about, being the dentist, right? So even little things like, well, let's make sure we greet Dave by his name when he walks in the office. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Let's make sure that we know 3 pieces of information about Dave. Hey, how's your daughter? Didn't she just graduate from college, right? That could be a strategy, a protocol of enhancing the experience. We know our client's name. We know literally 2 or 3 pieces of information about them, and we're going to engage them in the conversation when he walks in the office, right? I'm using dental office, but it could be a doctor's office, a chiropractor's office. Then as you walk him to the back, the dental chair, we've talked about that before. What kind of experience, make sure the conversation continues to go. Oh, tell me something fun you've done since the last time we saw you. How was your summer? How has your fall been? You're a Georgia fan. Oh, how about them dogs last night? You're a Florida fan. How about, right? But that is enhancing the experience. And so that leads to memorable experiences, which leads to referrals, not client retention and referrals.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, my dentist has like the TV screen on the right above your face, and he hands you
Okay.
the remote, and he said, "This is no one's going to argue with you about what channel you want to put on." And so, and they give you headphones, and then so um, now, granted, mind you, but that's different. It is different, but at the same time, it doesn't open the conversation between you and the dentist. But you can't have a conversation anyway. He's got 50 hands in your mouth, but. I thought it was kind of.
I've not seen that, so I like that.
It's a cool concept. You got a remote that you're staring up at the TV, of course, because it's right above your face, and they're working, and you got headphones on, so it allows you to be, I think, more comfortable. And so where people, once again, where people get lost in this is they think, well, how can I be different? It's not always just being so different. How about being genuine and really focusing on, all right, what do my
convenient? Yes, that can be a differentiator.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I think about like my lawn guys. Not once did they ever ask me, "Do you want the bushes trimmed?" But every week they trim the bushes. It's all included. And so when they quoted me the original price, I had no idea. I thought the upsell was going to be bushes.
Right.
It's all included. And I mean, so talk about client experience. I'll never leave these guys. I mean, they do a great job. One of the best looking yards in the neighborhood. And why would I don't have to do anything. So the client experience is great.
Well, we've talked about that before. I've used this example before in one of our other podcasts, because I've used this with almost all my coaching clients, right? Which goes into, I always tell, go visit your best customers, your top 20. Remember, top 20 in Farm Club is what Dan Sullivan called it. Yeah, go visit your top 20 clients and say, what's working? What are we doing well, right? Number two, what can we improve upon? How can we improve our service to you? How can we improve your experience, right? So you already got the warm and fuzzy because, what have I done well for you, right? You got them feeling good about you. You're asking for, advice on how to get better. What else can we do? And then the third thing is anything else we can help you with. Anything else we can help you with. Imagine your lawn guy who you like coming up and saying, how's it going? How are we, what have we done great for you? Oh, I love it to do my bushes. Anything we can improve upon. And you might say yes, you might say no. And then you might say, anything else we can help you with? And you might say, well, I was looking at my gutters, they need to be cleaned. Do you know anybody? And now we got, if that's a service he offers or a referral that he can get or give. Remember how we talked about joint ventures before? That would be an easy way for him to enhance your experience, asking, that's what client surveys are. We had that survey guy on our podcast, about a year ago.
Matt, I'm at a loss for his last name. I'm sorry.
A lot, but that survey, and that's about when you ask your clients, what do you like? What can we do better? But then you actually do something about it. It actually makes your clients more sticky. Oh, he asked my opinion and he did something about it, right?
Yeah, Doc Champagne. Dr.
Yeah,
Matt
Champagne.
Here's the thing about when you take into consideration the if you're not asking them, I mean, I'm going to use your business, financial services. From what I understand, once you cross the 5 to 10 million mark or above, most people in your position who have clients like that, they don't have all their money. They have multiple agents. Well, why is that? Well, if one gave the most outstanding client experience, all the money would be with them. I mean, there's no reason to have, you're paying fees. Why not give it all to one person that you trust and like? Well, the only way that's going to happen is your experience, your client experience has got to be so different that it says, I'm doing all my business with Matt. That's the way it's got to be. So I think that, and of course, what came to mind, maybe the reason that is because people like Bernie Madoff. I guess Bernie had a really great client experience, but I always ask myself, how did people lose all their money? Why'd they have all their money with one guy? Probably client experience. So I'm not telling you you should be a crook, but
I understand.
The reality is you should be honest. But if you give a great enough client experience, most people never think of going anywhere else.
Well, let's go back to this example, even of like your landscaper, right? So back to your landscaper and, what are we doing well? I love it. They do my bushes. You do a great job. Anything we can do to improve, whatever, not particularly whatever. But then go back to that. What else can we help you with? What other projects can we help you with? Hey, I'm thinking of cleaning my gutters. Hey, I'm thinking of redoing my kitchen. Hey, I'm thinking of redoing my porch. Now, all of a sudden, that goes back to what we talk about all the time, the joint ventures and alliances that you have. So what if this is your client and that you can control the whole relationship and anything that you need for your home, I'm your guy, right? I know a contractor, I know a gutter cleaner, I know a roofer, I know a painter, I know guys that do back porches, I know guys that do kitchens and bathrooms, I know guys that do basements, right? And then I'm just strengthening my relationship with you. Plus, I'm sending you to all my guys who are then cross-referring more opportunities for me to do my landscaping to their customers, right? And so it really, you're enhancing my experience, but you're also getting more of my business, right? Yeah. Or at least directing more of my business, right? That's lawyers and CPAs, right? If your lawyer tells you to go talk to this person, you usually say, oh, I'll go talk to that person. If your CPA says, go talk to this lawyer, you usually say, okay. If your lawyer, who's your business lawyer, and you get bitten by a dog, well, go see, Dave, he's the dog bite specialist, right? And you'll be like, oh, okay, my lawyer said so, right? And you start controlling the relationship in a good way. I mean, is your business, you enhance the experience, but then you also enhance opportunities for joint ventures, which also strengthens the relationship, which also strengthens your business and your referability. I don't know, it's like, now I'm all excited.
Well, and that's it. I mean, the business is never about, it's always about the lifetime value of the client. It's never about the first transaction. It's always about the lifetime value. And what does that mean? Well, that means somebody's going to be with you for however long the life is of a client. It depends on the business you're in. For instance, the car business, what you don't have as much anymore. You've got what used to happen is your basically mom and dad bought their vehicle from the same dealership, same brand, almost their entire life. The kids came up because they knew, they got to know the people at the dealership. Well, now it's not that way in the car business anymore, because it almost seems like they forgot about the client, the client experience until you step foot on a Mercedes or a Lexus lot. I mean, you go into Lexus, I mean, every time we bring our car in, they hand my wife hand her a loaner car. And if you don't want to sit there and wait, she's got a loaner car. She's driving a different Lexus than her LS. And I mean, all those things, but it's all based around how do they make their money? They don't make their money when they sell a car. They make their money in the service department. And we learned this, we had Scott Hembrough on the show, but it's all about client experience in the service department for Lexus. Why don't many other dealerships focus on the service department? I mean, that's where the money is in the service department. Then it should all be about client experience. And I'm trying to think of who used to say this. You should treat your clients with a velvet glove. And I think it's Mike McCallow. It's not Mike McCallow, but talked about what he called the velvet rope treatment. And I'll think of who it is here in a minute. What he means is, like, imagine your client, you walk up to a busy nightclub and there's all that whole line, but you get out of your car and the bouncer, moves the velvet rope and ushers you right in, because you're that important. That's how a client should feel about doing business with you, is the velvet rope treatment. I'm like, that's a pretty cool way of looking at a client.
Well, that's good. Well, so I was at a conference in Dallas last week. So I'm TSA and I'm clear, right? So I'm paying extra money to get to the front of the line, right? And they've got, well, technically you're getting all, whatever, pre-approved because you've given them all your blood and this stuff, so they know you're not a terrorist. But what are you really doing? You're paying money to get to the front of the line to make it easy. Hey, you show up. How do I get there? Do I get there by an Uber or now we're getting, so Uber's a pain in the rear here in Atlanta, that I've been using a private driver. So there's a new market for these private drivers who I tell him to be here at 5:30 in the morning on Wednesday, and he's here. I didn't have to Uber and make sure, is there going to be a 5-minute delay or a 10-minute delay? No, he's here, 5:30 in the morning. Takes me there, drops me right off, and then what do? I go to Clear, right? So I go Clear, I go walk right through. That's awesome, that's great. And then if you're a Delta Sky Miles, you go sit in the Sky Miles thing. I'm not a Sky Mile thing, but you could, right? So just that little trip is an experience, right? And make my life easier.
you talk about the Delta Sky Miles room, or the Sky Club, which was, American Express. So I've been, platinum member. So I always got free access to the Delta Sky room. Well, as long as you're flying Delta. Right. But the thing about it was the room got so full that if your client experience is not any better than anyone else's, meaning if everybody's involved, it's not a unique, it's hard when you're in the big time business like that. We're not advising people like Delta Airlines. If you're Delta Airlines, it's a different thing that you have to do. I would recommend, if you want to improve your client experience and you're a Delta executive watching this show, I would recommend you go look at what Southwest Airlines does with their clients, and you could probably learn a lot from them because they do it really well. And so, but they're a less expensive airline, but yet they do it really well. The point is, both are in the same business. One gives a really good customer experience. One is not really good with customers. It's even right now, there's so much political divide. It doesn't matter what size business you're in. If you can give a great customer experience and like, for instance, I heard of some restaurants in New York where they require to come in the restaurant, the vaccine passport or whatever it's called, to go in there. So a lot of restaurants are moving their tables outside, saying you can eat outside. What are they focused on? The client experience. If you're not vaccinated, please come to our restaurant. We don't want you to feel alienated. So they're breaking a political divide that could be hurting their business. They have to comply with the law, but at the same time, they're saying, hey, we're trying to be welcoming of everybody and give them an opportunity. Now, if it's pouring rain or it's freezing cold outside in the winter, that it's tough to deal with. But we
got to bring you back here. We got to bring it back. So creating excellent experience, right? So part of that experience is think of you and your business and how you can enhance your business. Whatever your mom and pops, we already use landscapers, we use dentists, we use builders, right? We use painter and liaison, right? What can you do right now to enhance the experience, make it better, easier, more convenient, right? From that, you start building systems and protocols. Remember, I was talking about the dentist. And so make sure we know Dave's name and make sure we know 3 things about Dave before he comes in. And that's our conversation piece. And whatever time of year it is, those are protocols. Dentists like to call them protocols. You and I might call it a checklist or a system or a process, because when we can systematize the process, right? How do we enhance the experience? If I know Dave's name and I know 3 things about him, that will enhance his experience. How can I systematize that? Well, there's a checklist that says Dave's coming in at 2 o'clock. Check 1. What are 3 things about Dave that we know? Daughter graduated from school. He likes Florida Gators, and he's from Wisconsin. There's a checklist. There is a protocol, and now you are enhancing the experience of Dave coming into your dental office. But you've also got a system, a protocol, a process that makes sure it happens every time, right? So and then what you're doing is you're adding more value, but it's easier, right? It's easier for you to add value because somebody can look that up before you walk in the door. Dave's coming in and here's the free facts. Boom. Now it's a little file, a little PDF. And then every time Dave comes up, it's an automatic, you're the automation guy, automatically pops up. There's Dave and his 3 bullet points. And maybe it gets distributed to the dentist and the hygienist and the front office lady automatically.
Yeah. And when you do this, okay, whether you're hiring a new employee or whether, let's say your front office person is sick today and somebody's got to take the front office, her place or his place. Well, now if there's a checklist, they can go, oh, hey, Mr. Hutchins, I hear you're a Georgia fan. I love Georgia. And, but I heard you got one of the coolest booths out there and they start going into that. And now you're kind of building rapport, but what you did is you increased the value of your business because of the systems, because you can insert people into the equation because the system is in place and the system is focused on the client experience.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We call them, another word for it, standard operating procedures. And so what happens when X, Y, Z, financial services, what happens when a client passes away? Boom, boom, boom. You need to do this, notify, blah, 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 make sure this, and here's a checklist for them to help settle the estate. Send them flowers, send them blah, 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 attend the funeral, blah, blah. And you can have a whole checklist of what happens when a client passes away. What happens when a client has a child? Boom, boom, boom. Here's a standard operating procedure. Call, congratulate, send a card, buy a baby gift. Here's our typical baby gift we give away. A kid graduated from college. One of the advisors that I was talking to this past week, every time a kid graduates from high school or college, there's a particular book that he sends and a note, but the note is pre-written, right? But that's his standard operating procedure. He sends this book. I forget what it was called, but every high school graduate of his client, he sends his book. Every college graduate, he sends a book. So he's got a standard operating procedure of here's what happens when we have a client whose kid graduates from college or graduates from high school. And he's enhancing the experience. Gosh, wasn't that nice of Dave to send a book to our son? Wasn't it nice of Dave to send a book to our daughter graduating from college? He's awesome. Who knows whether, if the kid cares or not, but the parents do, right? The client does, right?
But it puts you in a situation where like you're that kid and all of a sudden let's say the kid graduates college, goes on, gets a great job and is making all this money. And now they need a financial advisor. Well, what are they going to do? Who are they going to call? The guy who gave them the book or the girl who gave them the book when they graduated college. I mean,
we're bringing this full circle. We're talking about how to grow your business through client experience, a great client experience. And so we would challenge you to think of what is one or two things that you can do today to enhance the client experience. And then we'll tell you to write that down, make that a checklist, make that a protocol, make that a standard operating procedure, whatever the words are you want to use that, because then you're systematizing it. It's easier to train people. It's easier to make sure it gets done. It increases the value of your business. It makes it easier for you to remember to do it, right? These are the things we do in our group coaching program, right? These are the things. How do we enhance value? How do we enhance the client experience? Dave, what have you done in your business to enhance the client experience? What would you like to see in my business that would enhance the client experience, right? That's what we do in our group. That's how we do that. We talk about our irresistible offer. Hey, we can find any business owner $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 without spending $1 more in advertising and marketing. That's called a profit acceleration session. If you're interested in that, Matt at profitabilitymd.com, Dave at profitabilitymd.com. Our group coaching, Matt at Profitability, Dave at profitabilitymd.com. The idea, though, these are the things we're talking about. How to enhance your business, grow your business through enhancing the client experience. But that all leads back to then our core, right? If you know that you do something different, different is better, different is unique, you bring that back to your target market. What would they find different and unique and enhancing the experience? That helps me with my $1 million message. Hey, we're the company that does XYZ, whatever that extra special thing is. And now your irresistible offer is, hey, come experience, or would we say, we started this whole thing with Savannah Bananas, we make baseball fun. Come experience a game, bring your family, have a great evening, right? Bring it full circle. And it comes back to enhancing the client experience actually helps you with your target market, with your $1 million message and your irresistible offer. So just by enhancing the client experience, you'll grow your business. Joint venture opportunities, we mentioned that. Anyway, this was a good one. Come join our group coaching stuff. Come get a profit acceleration session with us. Come grow your business, man.
Matt, good show today.
This was fun.
Take it easy.